So the Turkish Getup is a really great exercise, but it's often commonly done wrong. It's very technical and there's a lot of steps, so we want to break it down into pieces. And one of the most common missteps or pieces that are overlooked is coming in and out of the half kneeling position. We see a lot of lateral flexion and this side bending. We talked about it a lot over the weekend, but your spine doesn't have that much mobility. It can only laterally flex a certain amount of degrees. It can only rotate a certain amount of degrees. Essentially, when we look at the half kneeling position, it's a hip hinge. So we really want to get into the hips as if we're deadlifting, flex into the hips, extend through the hips, and take advantage of the strength and power that we have in our hips and our glutes, particularly when we have a heavy weight over our hand. So when we're transitioning from the floor in the get up to the half kneeling position or going back down, we really want to limit this lateral bending. The more we can get into our hips, the more we can take advantage of that mobility, spare our spine, and also take advantage of our strength if we're trying to do a lot of weight or a lot of reps. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. One, the most common is to spin the knee. So we can pivot the knee behind us, spin the foot to the side. Essentially, my hips are in this 45-degree angle. And then with the load overhead, I'm going to hip hinge into my hips, and I'm going to find the floor with my hand. Whether I'm transitioning from the floor or back down to the floor, I'm going to use this hip hinge and bend into my hips. The other way we can do it that spares the knee a little bit from kind of grinding and irritating on the floor is we can move our front leg. And I can lift this foot and open up to 45 degrees, and then I'm going to hip hinge, I'm going to find the floor, and I could come back up. This is also our windmill position, whether we're in half kneeling or standing. A very similar pattern in the body. We're going to be hip hinging into the hips and then rotating through the thoracic spine. So coming back to those two knee positions, I can either pivot the knee, spin this knee back 45-degree angle with my legs. I'm going to sit into my hips, find the floor with my hand, and then I'm essentially what's commonly referred to as the Holy Trinity, but this three-point tripod position. And then coming out of that too, when I want to rise up into half kneeling, I can hip hinge, rise back up. If I want to move my front leg, I can go to that again as well. The con of this movement is I'm essentially taking away my base for a period of time, and I'm balancing on that back knee, so it's a little bit less stable, but your knee is fixed the entire time, and you don't have to grind and kind of rub it into the ground as much. So I'm going to spin this leg out to about 45 degrees, hip hinge into my hand, I'm going to find the floor, hand out in front of me, and I'm in that three-point tripod position again. Hip hinge in, and then rise up, which allows us to accommodate a lot of load or do a lot of repetitions, but it spares the spine. And then we have those two positions for our hips depending on what's preferred and what feels most comfortable.